All right, so get ready because we're diving into a book today that'll really get you thinking.
It's called The Go-Giver.
The Go-Giver. Yeah, and it kind of turns that whole go-getter idea on its head.
Exactly. It's not about that hustle mentality.
You know what?
Always got to be on.
Yeah, always pushing, pushing, pushing.
This book's all about a different approach.
So in The Go-Giver, we meet Joe.
He's a salesman.
Yeah, he's in sales, but
He's ambitious, but
struggling.
really struggling to make those goals.
Yeah, he's hitting a wall.
So he decides to reach out to this mentor.
This legendary mentor.
Everyone calls him Pindar.
Pindar, or the chairman.
You know,
Yeah.
kind of mysterious figure.
And Pindar agrees to this crazy idea.
To meet with Joe every single day for a week.
Every day.
To share his 5 laws.
5 laws of stratospheric success.
No less.
Not just success.
Stratospheric success.
All right, so 5 laws in 5 days.
That's the challenge.
Joe's got to be thinking, all right, let's do this.
Right. Sink or swim.
But here's the thing. These laws aren't just about business.
No, they're not.
The Go-Giver is saying they're about life.
It's about creating a life that's actually fulfilling.
Not just about the bottom line.
And you see how this works as Joe goes through this week?
Yeah, each day Pindar brings in someone new.
Could be a restaurant owner, a CEO, a financial advisor.
All these wildly successful people.
But each of them embodies one of the laws.
So you're not just getting a lecture, you're seeing it in action.
Exactly. You see how these principles actually play out in their lives.
Makes you think, could this work for me?
So let's take Joe's very first meeting with Pindar.
All right, picture this Pindar's mansion.
It's incredible, this massive estate.
Joe's got to be blown away.
And Pindar just drops this bomb on him.
His secret to success.
Giving.
Just giving.
That's it.
I'd be like, wait, what?
Right. You'd think it's all about getting ahead.
But Pindar and everyone he introduces Joe to,
They challenge that idea.
they say it's not about stepping on people.
Not about winning at all costs.
Have you ever felt that pressure, though?
Like, you got to be constantly getting more.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, the book really hits on that feeling.
So that brings us to the first law, the law of value.
Your true worth isn't about what you have. It's about what you give.
Okay, so how much you give.
Specifically, how much more you give in value than you get paid for.
Now, hold on. I know what some people are thinking.
Doesn't that mean you end up broke?
Right.
But the book tells the story of Ernesto.
Ernesto starts with just a hot dog cart.
A hot dog cart. And he ends up building a restaurant empire.
And real estate.
It's amazing.
Ernesto is all about exceeding expectations.
He wants every customer to feel like they're the only one.
Like they matter.
And he does these little things.
He remembers the kids' names, their birthdays, even their favorite toppings.
You know, it's not about tricks. It's about making that hot dog special.
Making it an experience.
So think about it. What if, instead of obsessing over what you can get,
you focus on how you can add value
to every interaction,
to everything you do?
how would that change things?
That's a total mind shift.
Instead of what's in it for me.
You ask, how can I make this valuable for them?
And the Go-Giver says, when you focus on serving others first,
The money follows.
it's not about gaming the system.
People are drawn to value.
They want to do business with someone who cares.
So Joe's still a little skeptical at this point.
Understandably.
He's thinking, okay, this sounds nice, but does it work in the real world?
The cutthroat world of business.
Exactly. And that's where Nicole Martin comes in.
She's the CEO of this wildly successful software company,
Educational software.
and her office is unlike anything you've ever seen.
Imagine a conference room.
But it's straight out of kindergarten.
Finger paintings on the walls, easels, bright colors.
It's amazing.
And it makes sense when you learn Nicole used to be a teacher,
She was passionate about education.
wanted to make a difference.
And that's the heart of the second law, the law of compensation.
What's that one about?
Your income depends on how many people you serve
How many?
and how well you serve them.
So Nicole was a great teacher,
But she could only reach so many students.
right?
With software, she could reach millions.
Wow.
Her impact multiplied exponentially.
I bet a lot of people listening can relate to Nicole's story.
How so?
She was scared when her company started taking off.
Really?
Yeah, she grew up believing you can be rich or you can be good.
Like you can't have both.
Like wealth and being a good person don't mix.
That's a tough belief to overcome.
But Nicole's story shows it's not true.
You can be successful and make a positive impact.
It makes you rethink things for sure.
It does. So we've got adding value and compensation.
But what about connection?
Ah, yes. That's where Law 3 comes in.
The law of influence.
That's it.
So Joe meets Sam Rosen next.
He's a top financial advisor.
And his office is even more impressive.
Think airplane hangar size.
But Sam isn't about showing off.
He's all about genuine connection.
And he defines network in a really specific way.
It's not just a list of contacts.
It's an army of ambassadors.
People who are invested in your success.
Because you're invested in theirs.
It's a two-way street.
And Sam says something really interesting.
What's that?
He says, stop keeping score.
Stop keeping score.
Yeah. Yeah, he says, win-win is often just disguised scorekeeping. So if you're not keeping score, how do you build relationships?
That's the key question. The law of influence says your influence grows when you put other people's interests first.
Really?
Abundantly first.
So you focus on their win.
And somehow your needs get taken care of too.
That sounds kind of paradoxical.
It is. It's counterintuitive.
But I can see how it would free you up.
From constantly calculating.
From that fear of getting the short end of the stick.
And that's what allows for real connection.
Collaboration.
You build a network of people who actually want to see you succeed.
Because you've done the same for them.
It's about building genuine trust.
Now, Joe's been really focused on winning back this big account he lost.
Right.
But the fourth law gets a little more personal.
We see some cracks in his personal life.
Yeah, things are getting tense with his wife, Susan.
She's dealing with a lot of stress at work.
And they have this rule where they each get 30 minutes of complaint time.
30 minutes.
Yeah, can you imagine?
That really shows the strain on their relationship.
You're so focused on dividing things equally.
On keeping score.
Which we just learned isn't the best way to build connection.
So Joe's next meeting is with Deborah Davenport.
She's a top realtor.
Wildly successful.
But she was struggling for years.
She tried every sales technique in the book.
But nothing worked until she learned to be herself.
To ditch the act and be genuine.
I love how honest Deborah is about her struggles with self-esteem.
Yeah, she shares how she used to tie her worth to external things.
To her sales numbers, to her image.
And there's this story where on her birthday,
she gets 3 gifts.
2 are nice presents.
But the third, her husband leaves her.
Wow.
She calls it the biggest wake-up call of her life.
It forced her to face her insecurities.
To realize that real self-worth comes from within.
Not from someone else's approval.
And that's the law of authenticity.
No matter what you think you're selling, you're really offering you.
Your unique perspective, your experiences, your personality.
That's what makes you valuable.
And Deborah says that changed everything for her.
Her presentations became more genuine.
More compelling.
And her sales went through the roof.
People were drawn to her authenticity.
Not to some fake persona.
So Joe's starting to see how these laws are about real relationships.
Not about manipulation.
But he's still trying to figure out how to put them into practice.
He tries using the law of influence with Susan.
He listens to her vent about work.
And how does that go?
It backfires. She bursts into tears and Joe's lost.
So just knowing the laws isn't enough.
You have to embody them.
To approach every interaction with a genuine desire to serve.
And sometimes the best thing you can do is just listen.
Without trying to fix things.
Which brings us to the 5th and final law.
The law of receptivity.
And that's where things get really interesting.
I can't wait to hear more. Joe goes to see Pindar, expecting another guest.
Oh, so another impressive person.
But this time, it's just Joe and Pindar.
Oh, I love those moments in the book when it's just them two.
Real heart to heart.
So what's this law of receptivity all about?
Well, Joe thinks giving is better, right? That's the key to success.
Makes sense.
But Pindar says it's arrogant to give and then not receive.
What?
Like you're denying the other person the chance to give.
Oh, I never thought of it that way.
It's not just about being willing to receive.
It's about seeing it as part of the process.
Exactly. Like breathing, you can't just inhale.
Or exhale, too.
It's a natural flow.
Back and forth.
Or think about plants and animals.
They're always exchanging.
Giving and receiving.
Yeah.
It's how the whole system works.
That's a good analogy.
Pindar says every giving can happen only because it is also a receiving.
Wow, that's powerful. I'm kind of realizing
What are you realizing?
that I'm not always comfortable receiving.
Yeah, it's common.
Like, it makes me feel kind of awkward.
Yeah. We're taught to be self-sufficient, independent.
Like, we got to earn everything.
But receiving is important.
Whether it's a compliment or help or just a moment of joy.
It keeps things in balance.
It's at that yin and yang thing.
It's about allowing life to flow
I think I block that flow sometimes.
by not being open to receiving.
And you know what else Pindar says?
What's that?
That the best gift you can give is yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And if I don't receive,
What happens?
I'm kind of taking away from that gift.
Like diminishing its value.
Because I'm not letting them give fully.
That's a profound insight.
It really is. So it's not about manipulating people.
Or trying to get something back.
It's about being truly generous.
Giving freely and receiving gratefully.
And trusting that abundance will come.
It's a shift in perspective.
So giving and receiving create this cycle.
It benefits everyone.
A rising tide lifts all boats.
Exactly. Has anything surprised you as we've been talking?
You know, I thought giving was mostly about charity.
Like donating to causes?
But this book makes it so much bigger.
It's a way of being.
It's about how you treat people.
How you show up in the world.
It could be just listening to someone.
Or offering encouragement.
Or sharing your knowledge to help someone.
Those small acts can make a big difference.
It's not about expecting something back.
It's about caring about other people.
I'm wanting them to succeed.
Their success doesn't take away from yours.
It often adds to it.
Now, some people might say, this is just common sense.
But we don't always live by it, do we?
We often have a scarcity mindset.
We think there's not enough to go around.
That someone else's win is our loss.
And that's what the go-giver is trying to change.
It's asking us to shift to abundance.
To believe there's enough for everyone.
That collaboration is better than competition.
And that helping others helps ourselves.
Instead of a zero-sum game.
You look for win-win situations.
It ever benefits.
Expanding the pie instead of fighting over crumbs.
I like that. Now, there's a character we haven't talked about.
Oh, yeah, Guy.
He's Joe's coworker.
Kind of a mystery.
Some people think he's just coasting.
Others say he's secretly rich.
He's quiet, unassuming.
Not like Joe all ambitious.
But there's something about Gus.
Like he's got this wisdom.
And guess what?
What?
Gus is the one connecting all the dots.
Really?
He introduced Pindar to Sam, invested in Ernesto's restaurant,
No way.
and helped Nicole start her company.
He's like the secret mastermind.
But he doesn't want the credit.
He just gives, connects, facilitates.
And he's actually very wealthy.
Wow.
He could retire any time.
But he stays at the same job.
He loves it.
He finds joy in helping people.
That's true wealth, isn't it?
It's not just about money.
It's about making a difference.
About having purpose.
Everyone has something valuable to offer.
No matter who they are.
Gus might seem ordinary.
But he does extraordinary things.
And Joe learns from him.
To move away from that what can I get attitude.
And toward genuine connection.
And creating value for others.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into The Go-Giver,
what are the key takeaways for our listener?
well, I think one of the biggest things is that shifting your focus like that.
From getting to giving.
Yeah, it can really change everything.
Open up new possibilities.
And it's not about making these huge sacrifices.
Right.
It's the little things.
Yeah, everyday stuff.
How you approach your work.
How you treat people.
How you show up.
It all adds up.
It's remembering that your worth
Isn't about what you have.
it's about what you give.
Exactly. And those relationships you build,
Based on trust and support
those are crucial.
for success in every area of life. And, oh, I almost forgot one of the most important things.
What's that?
Being open to
That
receiving,
people give to you.
completing that cycle.
It's so important.
Have you ever had that happen?
What do you mean?
Where you gave and it led to something unexpected?
Like what?
Like you helped someone.
And it came back to you in a surprising way?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I actually had a great example just this week.
Oh, tell me about it. I was working on this project and I was stuck.
What kind of project?
It was a design thing. I just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, those can be frustrating.
So I reached out to a colleague.
Someone with more experience.
Yeah, he's really good at this stuff. But we hadn't worked together much.
So you were a little hesitant?
I didn't want to bother him, but I knew he could help.
And what happened?
He was so amazing.
Did he help you out?
He went above and beyond.
Really?
Not only did he solve my
We
problem,
gave you even more.
yeah, he shared all these resources and tips.
Wow, that's fantastic.
It made me realize I gotta be more like that.
Like what?
More willing to help others,
To share your knowledge?
even if it seems like a small thing.
Because you never know how it might come back around.
It's like that saying, you reap what you sow.
And it all starts with that shift in mindset,
From scarcity to abundance.
believing there's enough for everyone.
And that helping others ultimately helps you too. Speaking of helping others,
Yeah.
remember Joe at the end of the book.
Yeah, he meets Claire.
The designer.
She's impressed with his company.
And instead of keeping his secrets to himself,
What does he do?
he offers to share everything.
Wow.
And he even offers her a job.
He sees her potential.
Wants to give her a chance to shine.
That's so powerful.
It shows that success isn't just about you,
It's about lifting others up,
creating opportunities.
making the world a better place.
So as you go about your day, your week, your life,
Ask yourself,
how can I be a go-giver?
how can I add value?
How can I make a difference?
It all starts with that decision.
To shift your focus.
To embrace the power of giving.
And remember,
the most valuable gift
is yourself.